What's up guys, Hotshot Frontier back at it again with another video. And in this video guys, we're going to be doing a tier list video for the current format. Because as you guys know, the WCQ is actually in about 2 weeks. So I thought there's a pretty good chance to go ahead and update everyone on the current list for the meta. So starting off guys, we have the meta definer. Of course, this is like the top deck of the format. It's gonna be multiple decks by the way. And then underneath it we have high potential. It's still a very high hitting deck, but it's just not meta defining. Then under that we have really good because it still has a lot of potential, but it's just not hitting the high ceilings like the other two lists above it. Then underneath that we have rogue. It can steal wins, but it's not consistent enough with the statistics as the other decks are. And then underneath that we have not today's sun because it is just not today's sun. But guys, before we start, make sure you down below you let me know your picks. Do you agree with my picks and what decks did I miss? But let's get started. Of course we have Tri-Brigade. This could be Sprite Tri-Brigade. This could be mixed with Lyrillus, and it is definitely rogue right now. Not many people are actually playing it. I actually want to put not today's sun, but I'll be nice and put rogue. It's a really good deck. It's just that, you know, with cards like D-Shifter in the format, it's not very good. Plus, it's just if you get interrupted too many times, it's not going to be good. Especially, you know, we have cards like Droll and Lockbird that prevent you from adding cards, so it's definitely kind of rough. Moving on, we have, of course, Dinos, and I'm actually going to put Dinos in Rogue as well. It's going to be top of Rogue right now, but Dinos is a really good deck. Especially with the new support. I just feel like Dinos is kind of missing more. Like if Diagram came back to 3, we could see more plays, but right now it's just not really hitting the top levels of competitive right now, but it's still a really good deck. Now, not today's sun, we're actually going to go with Ninjas, because Ninjas was like kind of like the anti-Kashtira deck, right? Remember? But everything else adverse was kind of like sub-tier. And unfortunately, you know, we have more decks to worry about now other than Kashtira. So right now, I feel like Ninja should kind of be on not today's sun, but if you disagree, let me know. Next we have Manadium, and I actually think Manadium is actually it's a good deck. It really is. I think it's just missing a lot of stuff that, you know, that initial hype, like that it got from the beginning. It was just sort of like lackluster. But I feel like, again, with newer support, it's gonna get a lot better. But it's not a rogue deck. It's not a terrible deck. It is a really good Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Like, don't get me wrong. Next we have Blackwings, and Blackwings is actually a very rogue deck. So the thing with Blackwings is that, and it's one of my favorite decks, is that if you get interrupted very early on the combo, that's pretty much it. And you are locked into Blackwings a lot of the time, which is a problem. But again, it's a really good Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Now, it's not today's sun because a lot of people don't know what Blackwings do. You know, a deck like that, it's kind of like out there. And, you know, of course, it could steal wins. You can combine this with the Chaos Angel, and it could, you know, do amazing. And actually, guys, that brings me to, I am going to do a deck profile, an update for the channel. So definitely go ahead and make sure you're, turn on the notification bell so you're updated when I do drop that. But again, yeah, it's just that, if you don't know any deck, if you don't know what your opponent's doing, it is a threat. And that is Blackwings, definitely, if you do not know what they're doing. But moving on, we have Branded. Branded is, I don't think it's actually meta defined, even though it has like the best support right now. I think it has high potential. Branded is a really good deck in terms that it has many lines. But you don't see this as like a Branded engine, at least not right now. I feel like, again, it has a lot of potential. It's high potential, so it belongs in this category. It might be top 5 potential, honestly. But yeah, it's just that the fact that they go ahead and ban the expulsion, but they have the fusion monster that does the same thing, so it's kind of like, what? Anyway, that goes right there. Next we have Vanquish Soul, and that's going meta definer. Initially, this deck is only, what, 2-3 weeks old, and it's already just wrecking the top tables. Now, the WCQ, we might see people prepare for this, but then again, we'll see, because again, there are a lot of decks you have to prepare for, and this might slip through the cracks, but again, we'll see. A lot of people might kind of chalk this up to like, well, you know, it's just new, it's just got a few wins. But if people really prepare for this, then this can go down, definitely. But moving on, we have the Chaos deck, and Chaos honestly it's a really good deck. It is a really good deck. Again, with the support and the 2 new spell cards they are getting very soon, yeah, it's a threat. So I would definitely leave it there. But let me know what you guys think. Then we have Plunder Patrol, and I think Plunder Patrol is actually rogue. The good thing about Plunder Patrol is you can mix it with Adventurer, which you want to do like 90% of the time. Plus, you can play a lot of heavy like hand traps, right? But I feel like hand traps this format aren't the best. It's not a heavy hand trap format, unfortunately. Plus, you know, a lot of decks are probably going to be running an adventure engine. So when you kind of go back towards that, it's really like, okay, all we have is Plunder. And compared to a lot of the main core engines in Yu-Gi-Oh right now, the decks out right now, it's not that strong. But it's still a good deck, if you guys get what I'm saying. Next, we have Marinecess. And Marinecess, honestly, yeah, I'm going to have to put it in Rogue as well, because, again, it relies a lot on, you can do heavy hand traps. But the thing is that it does have the trap card that can negate your opponent's monsters. So, honestly, I might have to actually put that in really good. Yeah, I'm going to have to put that in really good. But it's kind of like in between, really, to be honest with you. But it's not a roguish deck. Like, it could steal wins, you know. And again, it has a lot of good hand traps to put in the deck. But moving on, this is like Code Talkers. And I'm actually going to put Code Talkers in... I want to put it in Rogue. I'm actually going to put it in Rogue, yeah, because the reason is I'm going to put Mathmech in really good. Now, I know Circular is at 1, of course, but this deck is actually really good, and you can consistently keep getting that 1 copy of Circular. You're still doing really well. I feel like Mathmech is a better version of Code Talkers in a lot of ways, especially with the new support that's coming out. It's going to help the deck a lot better than Code Talkers. But then we have Exo Sisters, and Exo Sisters, I've been trying to put this like at a very high level, you know, especially with like a few months back when Destructor was like a really good card, and Exo Sisters can use that a lot. So I kind of want to put it in Rogue. I do hope that Exo Sisters does a lot better, but there's no guarantees about where it's going to go. It's going to go with the current season that we're in right now. Next we have Trap Tricks. So Trap Tricks, I will actually put in really good, because again, it is a really good deck. You can mix this with Therion and have a lot more negation for it. So it's definitely a deck you need to go ahead and keep an eye on. Remember, this is the deck that you could just take 3 structure decks and just win locals, right? So it's definitely a really good deck. Next we have Dinomorpha, and I'm actually going to put this in Rogue. There's no particular order, by the way, but yeah, I just want to put it right here. Dinomorpha is a good deck. I just feel like, other than the other decks that have that surprise where like Blackwings, where it's like, okay, what does Blackwings do? Like, you know, like, did you really understand the support? I feel like more people would know what Dinomorpha does to the like minimalist like approach, and I feel like I feel like there are more ways to do burn damage now in Yu-Gi-Oh! So when you're really low, sure, you can probably negate that first damage, maybe the second, but the third's gonna get you, and you're kind of done, right? Especially with time in Yu-Gi-Oh! Going into round 3, your deck is just cutting your life points in half, and just running into time, you're against the clock. You're really against the clock, so you really want to watch out for that. Moving on, though, we have Eldritch, and Eldritch is not today's son. A lot of decks, all the trap-based decks right now, are basically decks that are like, okay, they're a worse version of Labyrinth, which we're going to get into soon, but Eldritch is just kind of running slow right now. A lot of cards can just be immune from card destruction effects, and I believe Eldritch in the future is going to do a lot better, but for right now, it's kind of like not today's son. Next we have Heroes. With the new support, I'm actually going to put that in Rogue because it has a lot of potential, but you know, there are a lot more bricks you're putting in the deck now too, which you have to keep in mind. Now Purely, I'm actually going to put Purely in really good. Again, no particular order, but I actually saw a Purely Kashtira deck that actually performed really well. But Purely by itself, it's still a really good deck. It's just probably not like at that high tier level, you know, because of the ban list. and the decks that are running wild right now. So it's still a deck to kind of keep an eye on. Next we have Kashtira. Like, no doubt, Kashtira is a meta-defining deck. You know, getting hit on the balance did nothing towards it. Burf really should have gotten hit, but it is what it is, guys. We have Punk. Punk is actually a really good deck as well, especially with the new support that came out in Cyberstorm Access. So that's definitely a really good deck. Moving on, we have Dark World, and I've actually put Dark World in Rogue. Reason being is that the Bystials are still out, and it's harder to play the deck. It's hard to activate a lot of your cards in your graveyard. D-Shifter is in the format, so unfortunately for now, I feel like it stays in Rogue. Labyrinth is a meta definer deck, guys. Reason being is it just performs so well. Like, the engine itself does a lot better than a lot of other trap-based decks right now. And, you know, Eradicator Epidemic Virus is a card, and you saw the finals, so I'm not even gonna talk more than that. Next up, guys, we have is Punk, and same thing with like Punk with Gold Pride is, you know, mixed together, it's a really good deck. Now we have Salamangreat, and I feel like Salamangreat is not at the par level as the other Cybers decks on this list. It's just been outperformed, and again, it's just like been out of the meta for so long that a lot of this decks just over level it right now. But after that, we have the Scareclaw, and Scareclaw mixed with Adventurer can actually be pretty good, really good actually. So I'm actually gonna put in really good. I saw a lot of tops and first place locals deck profiles, but now we have Super Heavy, and Super Heavy is kind of in between right now because Super Heavy, you know, don't get me wrong, can make a lot of good end boards like the Savage Dragon, Baron, Appaloosa, but a lot of decks can do that, right? So I feel like it's in Rogue. Sword Soul is actually really good right now. I've seen, again, a lot of tops, and the deck performs really well. I feel like it's probably like the mid-tier. I don't want to put in high potential, but it's a really good deck. Going on, then we have, of course, Sprite. Sprite is a meta definer. A lot of variants of Sprite do really well. Sprite Runic, Sprite with the Evil Twins, you know, Sprite Melfi, like a lot of different types of Sprite variants are doing well, and you know that is without no doubt true. So moving on, then we have Rika. Rika has high potential. It's a good deck. Again, with the field spell, triggering your opponent's monsters off the board is really good. Then we have Dragon Link, and Dragon Link goes in high potential because Dragon Link is just an insane deck right now, guys. The new support from Cyberstorm Access has really propelled the deck forward, and just new support coming out is going to like skyrocket this deck, probably into meta definer, to be honest with you. Runic is high potential because Runic really did not get hit off that list. I mean, we all know Found the 2 does nothing to the deck. They were already playing it at 2, so it has a lot of high potential mixed with Sprite and other variants. Sprite Naturia maybe is like maybe it's a really good deck, but this deck will be abused this format. I feel like it should, at least. Now we have Sky Striker, and Sky Striker is, I'm gonna put Rogue because it hasn't really hasn't had the performance that we've wanted to see. But you know, remember, like, this deck it was a really good deck for so long, and the new support will hopefully push it forward. Moving on to the last deck, and that is actually Flunderies. I want to put Meta Definer, but a lot of the top decks are decks that are highly represented, and Floo is just not like that deck where everyone's playing Floo, but it's definitely like top of like high potential. Like, Floo goes off. If you guys do not believe me, go ahead and check out the deck profile I did for my friend Delroy. He actually did very well, top 64 for YCS Philly. But yeah, he's gonna kill it at Nationals, I know it, with this deck. But guys, that's it. That's the list we have going to the WCQ. But guys, that's it for the tier list video. If you guys like the video, make sure to give it a huge like. Comment down below, how do you feel about the list? What decks did I miss? And guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're updated the morning I upload new videos. But guys, that's it for me. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.